feel? Are Hindus ashamed of their own culture?
Common sense, they can understand the culture of others, but they can't understand the culture of us because that's how we have been brainwashed. You know, the whole modern hypocrisy series is to showcase that.
What inspires you to take the Bharatiya traditions forward?
So I had made a video of significance of Dasara dolls. So that video did very well.
You emphasize on storytelling, right?
No matter where you are, no matter which god you celebrate, you pray, we're always connected to one thing. That is because of the storytellings of Ramayana and Mahabharata is what I feel.
So, can you share from any insight from your personal life where you were instantly connected with the ritual which you were performing and you were impacted by it? Food and dharma. What are your insights into eating sattvic food?
They're quite sure that we are eating probably very bland food or something like that.
On a different note, are you secular?
That's an interesting question.
Welcome to our next season of Dharma Speaks from Mahagate Foundation. Our next guest is Rakshitha, and she's been a social influencer. Like most of us, she has completed her engineering and did an IT job. She quit 3 years back to follow her passion of music, as well as she's a very good content creator in understanding the Sanatan Dharma in a very contemporary way. And as we always say, we always would like to bring the diverse views on Sanatan Dharma. And she has actually told many beautiful things in our episode. I'm sure you'll also will be learning a lot, and it'll be an exciting season for us. Shamata.
Shamata Rakshitha.
Shamata.
It's indeed a privilege having you here. You've been into IT and then you quit your job and have taken up the digital content creation world. So just share some insight on your journey, right? And what inspires you to take the Bharatiya traditions forward?
First of all, thank you for inviting me. This is going to be my first ever podcast, so I'm really excited and maybe equally nervous also. But yeah, thank you for inviting. And this whole journey of content creation, right? It happened very, very unplanned. So during the lockdown, like everyone, like most of us, I was contacting a lot of information on social media. So probably because of that, I was like, why not try out my hands on this? So one day, out of nowhere, I created a Instagram account. So back then, I was posting random stuff like my lifestyle. I was showcasing my lifestyle on my Instagram. So I was posting food recipes, travel videos, wherever I go, whatever I do. So if I find it interesting, I was posting those videos. So one day what happened, I visited a house in Chitradurga where they had beautifully arranged Dasara dolls for Dasara. So in South India, we have this tradition, right? Golu. Few houses, Golu. Few houses arrange beautiful dolls. So this big house was entirely set up for Dasara. I took the video casually and I thought, why not make a video on this? So I had made a video of significance of Dasara dolls. So that video did very well. My audience back then were like my friends and family. I had about 500 followers. So they gave so many nice feedback on that. Like, do more of this. So things like this I kept receiving from them. So I was like, anyway, so many people are posting travel videos, food recipes. Why not do something about Indian traditions? So that's how the whole idea of picking up this as a niche was. It was totally accidental. Of course, a sweet accident, I must say. Yeah, this is what my journey was.
Wonderful, wonderful. So throughout this journey, you said you began with food-related videos. I mean, very general about your life, right? Now that you are mostly posting about Bharatiya tradition, Sanatana Dharma, Do you see any challenges? Like, do you see any opportunities missed? Because it's not very cool, right? Talking about all of this. And do you see, people asking you, like I'll share my own experience, like when, me visiting temples, putting a tika, and talking about Sanatan Dharma. So people do ask me, my friends and all, "Kya tu sannyasin ho gayi hai kya? IT chhod rahi hai kya? Are you leaving your husband and going somewhere else? Is it?" So, have you experienced any such challenges?
Uh, just few years ago, my attire used to not look like this. I was like totally, I had this modern mindset, you might say. Like I used to wear only jeans. The Indian attire was only for festivals and for those things. But very organically for me, I started liking Indian wear. Okay, just giving an instance of this. So once I started wearing Indian wear, everybody was like, you used to wear jeans back then in your small hometown. Now why have you become like this? In fact, my mother is just completely traditional. She follows all the rituals, everything. But she's also like, every my friend daughters are wearing modern dresses, but you're not wearing these things. People ask, I don't know, it's such a sad state of affair, I feel. But it's not their mistake. That's how the entire environment has become. If you wear modern clothes, if you wear jeans, skirts, uh, then only you're independent woman. Otherwise, you're not. Otherwise, you're like just traditional, cultural. You're judged a little bit, but having said that, like it's our personality is what we carry. I don't care about that. I don't care whatever people think. I try to convince everybody who says that I try to change that mindset. So and also about the opportunities as a content creator, I miss a lot of sponsorships. Like many companies are not okay to sponsor because they're afraid of getting cancelled. So this I feel this as a content creator I have missed those opportunities. But otherwise it's all okay. Every field has its own upside and downside. So it's fine.
We do see lots of videos on hypocrisy, modern hypocrisy.
Right.
Very interesting, very interesting. In fact, I started looking at when you shared content about festivals and you share this to kids, right? With kids, you talk to. It felt like you were really talking to kids. So your views on it. What do you feel? Are Hindus ashamed of their own culture?
I definitely feel they are, because it's not like they have lost common sense. They have a lot of common sense. They have a lot of intelligence, of course. But we have our education system has made to believe that our Indian traditions are waste. They're totally superstitious. They make no sense. For example, I've made this video also. Like when you see somebody wearing a evil eye, they're like very proud about it. I bought this from Turkey, evil eye. And even while posting photos, when they post a very nice picture, they don't mind posting a evil eye symbol. But if somebody is wearing a taita or a black thread, and if they ask why are you wearing that, if somebody says it's because it's to avoid nazar, they suddenly say, oh, it makes no sense in this era. How can you believe this? There is common sense. They can understand the culture of others, but they can't understand the culture of us, because that's how we have been brainwashed. The whole modern hypocrisy series is to showcase that. Like why is there so much of difference in acceptance when it comes to Indian traditions versus when it comes to Western world? Yeah.
You're now residing in Singapore, right? And Singapore had welcomed many indigenous communities, right? From people from different culture, heritages, without diluting their own heritage and culture. So while you are working towards talking about Sanatan Dharma, sharing the narratives as is, do you face any problem there, or are there any challenges?
If it was any other country, my answer would be totally different. Oh, I'm facing this difficulty or something like that. I can't celebrate my festival or something like that. But staying in Singapore as a Sanatana Dharma follower, it's like a cakewalk. You know, the you have everything you need for your festival or for anything, right? So even though Singapore is such a small country, there are about 30 Hindu temples, and they all function so well as an entity. Each temple is like an institute in itself. They perform so well, especially during festivals. I really look forward to visiting temple in Singapore. I think the huge credit goes to the Tamil community that migrated to Singapore for maybe about hundreds of years ago. So they have strived so hard to maintain the essence of Sanatana Dharma, staying in a total different country. So for Indians now, it's very easy to celebrate festival, to share your opinion, to dress up in a certain way. Singapore is very welcoming. Yeah.
Oh, very nice to know. So our heritage and culture, there is no problem there in practicing and continuing it.
Definitely not. In fact, Deepavali is a national holiday there. During Deepavali, the entire city is lit up, and there are hoardings everywhere wishing Happy Deepavali, and there are posters of Deepas, Radha Krishna. So it's really beautiful. As I told, the entire credit goes to the Tamil community. Yeah.
Lots of videos I have seen what you're making. You emphasize on storytelling, right? And it instantly connects, right? With. So can you share more, impact around the storytelling and sharing an essence of, the traditions and dharma?
Our Indian traditions has sustained after so many invasions. Probably, according to me, is because of Ramayana and Mahabharata, storytellings. It has kept the dharma alive because of that. Storytelling is very, very important, according to me, and that's what our rishis have done, right? If they had just given us dharma shastras, Vedas, we wouldn't be able to follow it as much as we do it now. Uh, so many countries lost its community, lost its essence because, but India did not lose because of the powerful storytelling we always had. No matter where you stay, no matter where you are, no matter which god you celebrate, you pray, we're always connected to one thing. That is because of the storytellings of Ramayana and Mahabharata, is what I feel. So even today, I find extremely important for kids to know the essence, the real essence of Valmiki Ramayana and Vedavyasa's Mahabharata. So I try to promote it on my social media uh, so that parents can teach their kids in a interesting way, in a modern way that they can understand.
Right. There is so much of beauty in so our kids. It's so important that they understand that aspect of it, right? So their attention span in this digital era is so small, right? So how do we take all this to them? Any insights?
I think exposure to social media should be in a wiser way. There are a lot of channels on YouTube where they talk about Mahabharata and Ramayana and all the folk tales and everything in a very interesting way, which is appealing to kids. Maybe, uh, maybe parents can expose their kids to those things so they are interested, so they are not they don't think India has nothing. They should know everything about India. Just because they are growing up in a, I mean, they are studying in a ICICI syllabus doesn't mean they're not Indians, right? It's almost becoming like that, but it should not happen. There should be a little bit of efforts uh, in while growing them up, to showcase our Indian culture. Like for example, there's a YouTube channel called 21 Notes. They show Ramayana in a very interesting way, which is very appealing for kids. So by these things, parents can make it interesting for their kids.
Use the digital technology itself to teach them, isn't it?
Yeah, that's true, because that's what we are in. Anyway, they are on phone. Make it use in a wiser way.
So what influence does these, traditional Bharatiya music has on a person and, in their growth, personal growth?
Carnatic music I can't talk about any other Indian forms, but Carnatic music is very, very impactful. In South India, as we all know, even if a kid doesn't have a good voice, they just make them go for Carnatic music classes and Bharatanatyam classes because there is so much science there. Music, Carnatic music literally has everything. It has spirituality, it has pranayama in itself, the way the compositions are. It helps you control your breath, it helps you in memory power, it helps you in concentration. So I think there is nothing more beautiful than our cultural art forms. They're so well structured, and it's like it is given so easily for us. We sometimes take it for granted, but if we follow it, it's very, very impactful in life. In Carnatic music, there is a rule that for an entire avarta, you don't take a breath. So, for example, if you are singing Aditala, singing in Aditala, 1, 2, 3, 4. So, till the avarta completes, you don't take a breath in between. So, you see, you try to sustain your breath. So, the pranayama aspect is covered there. And the students who learn Carnatic music are usually good at maths, good with memory power, good with concentration. It has tremendous impact on your brain, and I don't see that in any other forms. Of course, all the art forms are all the music forms are beautiful, but I feel Indian classical art forms are very, very well structured.
In your content, right, you talk a lot about practical implementation of and the benefits of carrying out the rituals, right? So, can you share from any insight from your personal life where you were instantly connected with the ritual which you were performing, and you were impacted by it?
There is one ritual that I've been following recently, which I've just fallen in love with. That is drawing rangoli in front of the house. Growing up in a small town, I always saw a lot of hype created around drawing rangoli in the morning. I really didn't understand why there is so much of there is so much of hype. Like every morning, if you go around 7 o'clock in the morning, everybody is holding a can of water, everybody is drawing rangoli. I really didn't understand why is this such a compulsory ritual until I attended a workshop that was conducted by Hema Kanan. She's a kolam expert. I had attended her kolam workshop. She beautifully explained what rangoli has impact on you, on everybody's life. So she explained so what happens like in the morning, you come outside, you clean your entrance, and then you figure out which design to draw. As per that, you calculate in your mind how many dots to put. Then after the dots are completed, you start, and then you sit. Before that, you sit in the squat position, which is such a good position to sit in the morning, especially for women. And then you start drawing. You let your creative juices flow. And then once it's completed, that feeling of accomplishment, right? It's unmatched. Then it made me realize, the tone you set in the morning is set for the entire day. If you wake up in the morning and you're like stressed completely, or you have like negative energies, that's probably going to be the rest of the day. That's where the tone will be set. And at the same time, if you wake up in the morning with a lot of positivity, that's what is going to be set for the entire day as well, right? So that's what the rangoli exactly does to you. It gives such a boost of energy, feeling of accomplishment. It makes your creative juices flow. There is a concept in modern era where people swear by this ritual called creative journaling first thing in the morning. So first thing in the morning, you don't think anything. Take up a journal and draw something, whatever that's coming in your mind. And this swear by that ritual, saying it releases all the stress that if in case we have carried in the morning. So so all the negative energies are, put in the book, and you forget that. Then you can set a good tone for rest of the day. And that's exactly what Rangoli does. And for Rangoli, you don't even need a book or anything. It's such a eco-friendly thing. So then I realized why there was so much hype created around Rangoli. Why is it a mandatory ritual for women? And why my mother always used to scold me when I do greeting cards or something. She was always like, first learn Rangoli, then everything else. So this ritual has really changed my life. I really love it. My Rangoli skills are not that great. That's a different that's a different story. But when I see I'm improving from the previous day, I feel really happy, and everybody should try this. I feel and the credit goes to Hema Kannan actually. Yeah.
Oh, you've taken me back to my childhood. Every day this used to be a ritual. I completely agree with you. And on the special days when festivals are around, all the household women are outside, and it used to be a competition of who will do better and who will do faster. And believe me, Bandhu, it was always the elderly ladies beat us. And the amount of flexibility they had, I can relate to whatever you're telling. The sitting in a squat position and the technical precision they had, the speed we could never match up to. And it used to be like, that's a real festival itself, right? Where you're completely connected with your community, talking to everybody.
Correct.
There's a lot in it.
Seriously, so many. And as you told, you come outside and talk to your neighbors in the morning. It's such a refreshing task to do. Beautiful task.
I do hear where people say, we live in concrete jungle. Where is a need to put a rangoli right now? So, but there are so many other aspects to look at it. It's just not a floor where you're drawing some random lines, right?
That's true.
Wonderful. Very nice. You said you have been visiting temples, right? A lot. And Singapore also has so many. So how has this visiting temple impacted you as a child? And what excites you the most when you are in and around the temple?
Visiting a temple is a mandatory ritual in my house. Growing up, I also sometimes, if I don't have school, or if I woke up early, I would go with him. And temple has such a beautiful energy, such a positive energy flowing, right? So you feel no matter how stressful your life is, what has happened, the moment you enter the temple, you forget everything. There is that boost of energy flowing through, and after coming out from a temple, you don't know where the energy comes, but you're set for the day. Your temple is very important, especially the temples that are built as per Agama Shastra. They have the amount of energy that can not exist anywhere else, I feel. Sometimes people say, when God is everywhere, why should we visit temple? These things, but every space has its own energy. So, for example, if you're on a bed, the energy you have is totally different compared to when you're on a study table. So, when you're on a study table, you're very disciplined. You want to do something like that. But when you're on bed, you're like lethargic. You want to sleep. You just want to like laze around, and people don't realize the importance of energies that spaces can hold. In a temple, there is everyday puja going on. There's only positivity in the temple, and the power of our Vedic mantras, it's unmatchable. So that's why no wonder people feel so empowered, so happy to visit temples. So the visiting temple, the whole credit goes to my father, who used to like drag me to go to the temples. Yeah.
Parents, please drag your kids to temples.
They have.
Wonderful, wonderful. The point which you have emphasized on, right? The setting up a tone, right tone for the whole day to move on. We do see now it's so difficult for younger children to get up peaceful, be calm and take up the day, right? They're always stressed and they're like, oh, why did I wake up? It's like, oh, there is a long day in front of me. So these small aspects, what you've been sharing with us, really helps, isn't it? To then to start a day with a positive note and take up the day in a Wonderful. So, which is your favorite temple?
I was born and brought up in Holenarisipura. So coming from the land of Hoysalas, I my most favorite temple is Beluru Chennakeshava temple. I don't think there is any other man-made marvel that can beat this one. If anybody hasn't visited, they have to visit. It's like that should be like you know, a wish list of life. It's such a beautiful temple. The carvings that are there around the temple, you cannot understand, first of all. You can, of course, appreciate the beauty of the temple, but the intricacy, every time I visit the temple, I'm always astonished. And in fact, astonished more than before, like more than the previous visit. There's a saying in Kannada called Belur ಬಗ್ಗೆ ತಿಳ್ಕೋಬೇಕು ಅಂದರೆ ಬೇರೂರ್ಬೇಕು, which gets translated to, if you want to know about Belur, you have to spend rest of your life in Belur. You know, there is so many information. So when you see from outside, you're like, okay, this is a good temple and all that. If you take a guide and start roaming around the temple, when the guide says any information, you'll be like, oh, I did not know this, I did not observe this. Like, if you take one vigraha, there are so many aspects. There is so many stories in one particular vigraha. They've managed to carve our entire dharma, our entire history in that temple. I think Belur Chennakeshava temple is my most favorite, and most of the people who have visited will agree to that.
Any other temples you want to talk about? For whoever who is seeking dharma, you want to call it like, okay, these are must visits for you.
My favorite are, as I told, Belur Chennakeshava and Hampi, which is one more man-made wonder. I think you must be knowing there are 7 pillars in Hampi. So each pillar has the sound of Saptaswara. That's, as a musician especially, I don't know how they did that. It is such a beautiful play. Again, Hampi is also beautiful. The majesty of Vijayanagara dynasty is shown in that temple. That's also one of my favorites temple to visit. And apart from that, Kukke Subramanya, Dharmasthala, all the temples have its own charm and its own energies. Yeah.
Gonna add in my checklist now.
Yeah. And there are also a lot of other temples that I haven't visited, and there are on my checklist, which is Sun Temple, and Kedarnath, Badrinath, and all that. But I haven't visited, unfortunately. I'll visit soon. Yeah.
So on a different note, are you secular?
That's an interesting question. Personally, I feel every Indian is a secular by nature. If we were not secular, we would have not embraced other cultures, other religions the way we do. I don't see any other country which functions as beautiful as India, and the majority, and I don't see anywhere else the majority people embracing other religions so well. So, like I said, as everyone in India, I'm also a secular person, unless my religion is under threat or in bad hands, or so if someone is trying to bring bad name to my culture, then that's a different issue. But as far as it's respected, or even if they don't respect, if they just mind their own business, I like to be a secular. Yeah.
In any kid's life, parent plays a very important role, right? Because they are their first contact with the very being itself, right? So what are your insights on, how can they really make a difference in kids' life and, connecting them back to the Sanatana Dharma?
First and foremost thing is to follow. First, the parents have to follow, right? Kids don't learn by listening. They learn by seeing what the parents are doing. If they're most excited for Christmas holidays or to go somewhere out, they will be more excited in that. If they're excited to perform puja, if they're excited to celebrate the festival, and if they don't think it's a stressful job or something, that's what exactly the kids will learn. So more than telling them about it, more than forcing them, it's duty of parents to follow it first, so the kids can be interested. And before all this, it's important for kids to speak in their native language. Today, if a middle class family is earning little more than average, that's it. They think talking in English, connecting in English with your kids is an ultimate thing. You see what's happening here. Kids are, if they don't know the language in the first place, how are they going to connect with the community? How are they going to connect with the culture? Language has such an important thing. I don't know why is there so much obsession to speak in English with the kids. First of all, we are learning English as a language, and then we are learning entire academics in English. And on top of that, we find it's necessary to talk to your kids in English. That's really, it's not, I can't digest the fact at all, because if the language is dead, your culture is dead, everything will be dead. We will become another America with brown people, probably. So that's one thing. That's so easy, right? Parents don't even have to put a lot of efforts to talk in their native language. Let them learn. I'm not saying we should not learn English at all. They're learning anyway. They're spending like lakhs of money to get them English educated. And what's the need to speak in English? And it's not only about culture, even the connection between them, it won't be as strong in English, I feel. And why should we speak in English in the first place? I recently visited Vietnam. Vietnam is also a very vast country with full of culture, and they got independence much later than India, in fact. But the country is so prosperous today. It's one of the fastest growing countries in the world, and they don't learn English in their academics at all. They learn all the language, all the subjects in Vietnamese. But that has not hindered their development, country's development. When there are so many examples around the world, but India is so much obsessed to learn English. That's one easiest thing parents can do, I feel. They have to connect with their kids in native language, and only in like native language. Yeah. We are having conversation in English because that's the only language where entire India can connect. So that's fine. If you're even in software companies, we talk in English, and I can't be telling, I'll tell you I talk in Kannada or something like that. Talking in a public platform in English, that's fine at least, because unfortunately we lost our Sanskrit for communication.
Food and dharma. What are your insights into, eating sattvic food?
Few years ago, my idea of food preference was completely different. I was like, it's up to their choice, it's up to the taste buds and all that. But over the years, my view on non-vegetarian and vegetarian food has definitely changed. So I'll start from Ayurveda. What Ayurveda recommends is the human body cannot digest the non-vegetarian food. It recommends, if we want to have a good health, we should be eating sattvic food, is what Ayurveda recommends. But if you see, in the past, our freedom fighters, or be it soldiers, um, wrestlers, sports person, they eat non-vegetarian. And why is that? Because it's physically impossible to fight in a war like animals by eating sattvic food. So it's a need of the hour. There are few examples where people have eaten vegetarian food even in being different professions, but that's not the composition of everybody's physical body. So what I feel is, Eating non-vegetarian should come with an intention. If your idea is the sustenance of the society, then it's fine.
Wonderful insight, Rakshita. So, naturally, my next, the question was, is non-veg allowed, not allowed? But that was a beautiful insight shared where, it comes with an intention. If you're in a profession where you have to show your physical aggression and where, uh, you need that extra push, then yes, why not? But otherwise, yeah, based on how your lifestyle is, go ahead. Because being a vegetarian has become such a great difficult thing nowadays, because everywhere you go they say, hey, you're a vegetarian. You're bullied everywhere, like, oh, you're only eating this, where will you get energy from? So this is a wonderful insight shared. Thank you.
Actually, I have this idea for modern hypocrisy. I haven't executed it. If Indians are saying we eat only vegetarian food and all that, we are often bullied. But if a person in US saying that I'm a vegan, I want to like eat only vegetarian, then that's the coolest thing ever. Like, oh my god, he's a vegan, he loves animals and all that. But if a vegetarian in India is eating only vegetarian food, then it's like quite they're quite sure that we are eating probably very bland food or something like that. But I come from a family who don't eat non-vegetarian food. I can vouch. They really enjoy. I remember in my school times, my friend used to like make fun of me all the time. Like, oh, you eat only your pulchar, you eat only vegetarian food. We eat food like this, you eat like this, like that. She used to bully. Every time I bring my lunchbox, she was the one to grab the food and eat. So it makes no sense that in vegetarian food is boring or something like that. We have so much of varieties, and especially if you see the Jain food, if you see the Rajasthani food, they don't. It doesn't even consist onion and garlic, but tastes so amazing. They have so many varieties of food. So I don't know why it should be bullied at in the first place. So recently there was a video that went viral of Sudha Murthy's. So where she told she eats only at vegetarian restaurants and not in non-vegetarian restaurant because she's afraid they use the same vessels. And people were like, oh, don't you know the concept of soap and all that. But I don't see anywhere in other countries where they use different vessels and they don't even understand the concept of vegetarian. Uh, even if uh, even if we are very particularly told vegetarian food, sometimes they use fish oil, oyster oil. There's always there. So I didn't find anything wrong in what she said, but people had so much of problem with that. I in fact made a video also on that.
So in your next videos, can we see some recipe related videos? So food, festival, anything upcoming?
I used to post food recipes before, especially traditional food recipes, traditional sweet recipes, and one more series I used to do was in to cook for to cook interesting recipes from leftover food. Indian moms are such experts in reusing the leftover food. It's not like leftover from 2 3 days or something. Like if something is leftover in the morning, they prepare such interesting foods at night. So that used to be my very favorite thing to share. In fact, people used to love it. So yeah, food recipes I like, and also the beauty of Indian houses are each house has a family recipe which is unique to the only house. Nobody else will be preparing that. I also wanted to share about that. Like there are few dishes that is prepared at my home, nowhere where nobody prepares, and there are so many stories attached to that, like how it was formed or something like that. Yeah, food is something that excites me. Yeah, probably I should get back to posting food recipes once in a while.
Wonderful. We'll look forward to that.